For me, in the ashram in Kenchi, Maharajji's kuti is the sanctum sanctorum. Over the years, it had been kept by Ma and Choti Mataji just as it had been in his lifetime. It was almost as though one could feel his divine presence here. It was in this sacred place that Maharajji, the eternal Guru, had bade his goodbye to Ma, the eternal disciple, with the deeply moving words, "तीन काल में काहू ने ना ऐसी सेवा करी, ना कोई करेगा। संसार को हंसते हुए छोड़ूंगा, तुझको रोते हुए छोड़ूंगा. In 3 ages, no one has served the way you have, and no one ever will. I will leave the world laughing, but I will weep leaving you." This had signaled the transition from Maharaj to Ma. One of the changes in the room, though, Ma told me, were the photographs of Baba. Before she did Aarti in the kuti as a part of her morning puja, Choti Ma would wipe these clean with Ganga water. She would hand-pick flowers herself and during puja place these in a beautiful way in front of Baba's photographs. The other addition to the room was a glass-covered shelf in which Ma kept treasured relics such as his Ram notebooks, his clothes, his thali, his fire tongs, and his last train ticket to Vrindavan. Also safeguarded by the mothers was the pitcher filled with clay that Baba used to wash his hands with. Food cooked in the ashram kitchen was brought in a thali, just as it was done in Maharajji's time. Ma would offer the bhog, and then the plate was taken back to the kitchen, the prasad mixed in all the food that had been cooked. The kuti opened into a small pebbled courtyard, where Maharajji often used to sit in the sun on a wooden chair. During a few occasions, it served as a small meeting place. Sometimes Ma and Choti Mataji would help him bathe there. One day, a devotee came to Maharajji and offered to have the place cemented, since he felt that the pebbles must be hurting Baba's feet. Maharajji agreed. Ma had overheard the conversation. Finding a quiet moment, she began to collect the pebbles in the pallu of her dhoti. When Maharajji asked her what she was doing, Ma said the pebbles were precious as they bore the touch of his feet. She was collecting them now, as they would probably be thrown away when the cementing was done. That very moment, Maharajji sent a message to the devotee that the backyard would remain as it was. The same pebbles are there even today. When the walls are being painted or repairs are being carried out in Maharajji's kuti, the stones are picked up carefully and stored. Later, they were washed and replaced in Maharajji's courtyard. Here too, Ma would spontaneously pick up a stone and point out to whoever was present the letters R.A. Ram in Devanagari script on it, later giving the stones away as prasad. Maharajji often said to her, "Amma, teri aankhon mein Ram naam hai. Ma, you have Ram naam in your eyes." 2 days before Maharajji's final departure from Kenchi, he had asked Ma and Choti Mataji to start living in the kuti adjacent to his. This is where they lived now. Gradually, Ma started meeting me here. As entry into the mother's room was limited to very few, I took this as a sign of my acceptance. That was when I observed how Ma's room was as simple as Baba's kuti. There were 2 wooden beds on either side of the room, covered with coarse woolen blankets, both black in color. On Ma's side of the room, books and photographs of Maharajji were kept on the window ledge. Next to Choti Ma's bed were a few racks built into the wall. On that, along with photographs of Maharajji, was a framed photo of Hanumanji, which I recognized was a picture postcard I had sent to Ma during one of my journeys to Rameshwaram. Next to it was a small rock which I had picked up and sent to Ma from the Kamadgiri mountain in Chitrakoot. On the topmost shelf, an iron spatula was kept. The first time I noticed it, I observed it had been worshipped with flowers and sandalwood paste. Ma told me that the palta had been given to her by a sadhu, who had blessed her with the words, "Tera chakachak bhandara chalega, kabhi kami nahi hogi. You will have plenty to feed people with. There will never be a shortage of sacred food." From then on, for every bhandara, the spatula is ceremoniously taken on a steel plate to the cooking venue, preceded by the sound of conch shells and the ringing of bells and the sprinkling of Ganga water. The cooking is started with the spatula and then it is placed in the kitchen altar. It is brought back at night to Ma's room only after everyone has been fed. The simple room was devoid of any personal possessions. All that the mothers had were 2 sets of clothes, a beige sweater and a beige hill-woven shawl each, neatly kept in 2 cane baskets. These were kept in the wooden cupboard in the Doodh Kaksh. The mothers always wore white khadi dhotis. Devotees would offer them new dhotis, and they would, of course, accept them with the love with which these had been brought. But later, Ma would distribute the new dhotis to sadhus or give them away to the mais. In fact, Ma would give away whatever came to her. She would often say, "Sanchay karna acha nahi. Ishwar kabhi koi kami nahi karta. It is not good to accumulate. God never keeps us in dearth." Another very special article that I associate with the mothers was a small cloth bag made of beige corduroy fabric, and it travelled with Ma whenever she went on a journey. Ma was never seen to carry it herself, though. Someone accompanying her would remember to take it for her. We all fondly called it the corduroy ka jhola. This bag had almost everything that might be needed by Maharajji in the years that the mothers travelled with him. A small pen knife to peel fruit for him, a small pouch of roasted gram flour, seasoned with carom seeds and salt in case Maharajji's meals were delayed, some simple Ayurvedic medicines like Amrit Dhara, Kanthi for the throat, and some carminative salts. In the bag were also a few tablets of anasin and capsules of Bicosule, and the most amazing cures were performed with these 2. Also in the bag was a candle and a box of matches. There were no generators on railway platforms in those days, and it was a common phenomenon that the supply of electricity would be cut off every now and then, making it very inconvenient for Maharajji to board the train. On many occasions then and later, Ma's candle in the corduroy bag would come in handy. The most precious moment for me in Kainchi came one winter evening. Ma called me to her kuti and said that from now on I was to stay with the mothers in their room. I could not believe it. This signaled a moment of great transition in my life as I became a part of their inner world. In the evening, Ma sat on her takhat and wrote Ram Ram in her notebook. Choti Mataji sat on her takhat, eyes closed and meditative. Ma told me to read out the Srimad Devi Bhagavad to them. It became a routine with me to sit on a folded blanket upon the wooden floor and read out the sacred text to the mothers. My joy at being given this opportunity to read to the mothers daily was slightly marred by my lack of fluency in reading the Hindi text. So in the mornings, I put myself to task and prepared for the evenings, reading the text chapter by chapter, line by line, several times. Even then, it remained a struggle. One day, as I was crossing the temple area, I heard Sanskrit shloks from the Bhagavad Gita being chanted near Baba's temple. I was drawn in by the perfect enunciation and went in to see who it was. It turned out to be a young girl I knew, Shakuntala, who was physically disabled. She was reading the Sanskrit shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita out loud. I was amazed at this because Shakuntala had never received any formal education or schooling in her life. When I asked her the secret of her eloquence, she told me that Maharaji had once placed his hand on her head and blessed her, saying, "Tu to Vyas hai," or "You, my child, are Vyas." Since that day, she was able to read the most difficult of texts with great felicity. Totally taken in with the story, my whole day went in silent prayers to Maharaji for a similar boon, all in the pursuit of perfection, so my evening readings to Ma would be faultless. The next morning, a scantily clad sadhu appeared at Maharaji's temple. He wore a muddy cloth wrapped around his waist and a thin blanket over his shoulders. I saw both mothers proceed towards him from Ma's kuti and I followed. A brief conversation ensued between them. The sadhu said that he had just walked all the way from Badrinath. The distance from Badrinath to Kainchi was over 300 kilometers. The mothers requested him to stay a day and rest in the ashram. He replied, "Sant sukhi vicharant mahi." A sadhu is happy wandering. And then, just before he turned to go, he said to me, "Aur tum to Vyas ho, and you are Vyas."